Good afternoon. This is White Raptor News Ministries. We're at the 12:33 p.m. We're reading from 2 Samuel chapter 5. I did Samuel on the live streams the other day, but it was a chapter. It was just Samuel, 1 Samuel. So I got to go through this and do chapter 5 again. We're just going to be doing a reading here this morning. I've held off on doing any readings for a while. I've been doing live streams because it seems that more people are viewing my live streams, and the truth is not many people are really into me reading the Bible, and I understand that. The Bible isn't for everybody to read. There's only a few that are willing to go through this each and every day and put the time in to sharing this content. Do I know everything about the Bible? Absolutely not. That's why I read it. The Bible is a riddle. The Bible tells us that it is a riddle. And this is why Christians and others of all nations, of all creeds, all colors, have a difficult time reading the Bible because they don't understand the riddles. They don't put the time in to try to understand the riddles. People who pick up the Bible, they just read the chapter, and then they set the book down, and then the next day they read another chapter, and they set the book down, and the next day they read another chapter. You can't learn what the Bible is saying by simply picking it up and reading a chapter every day. Okay, you got to put hours, into reading this Bible. You have to read it at least an hour each day to get through at least 4 chapters. See, when you're going through multiple chapters, then you can catch the contradictions immediately. But if you read a chapter one day and then you read it and there's and then 4 chapters later you have a contradiction, you don't really remember where it was that you caught the contradiction. It makes it more difficult for you to go back and say, hey, I just read that in this chapter here. Take notes as you're reading the Bible. Write things down that don't sound right to you. Why would a creator God make a slave world? Because in order for you to understand what good is, you have to experience the evil. It's that simple. It's duality that exists. So we're going to jump into this reading. All the tribes of Israel came to David at Hebron. Hold on, give me 1 second here. Okay, I just had to confirm whether or not I had read this chapter to you guys or not. All the tribes of Israel came to David at Hebron and said, "We are your own flesh and blood." Well, we're spiritual beings. Okay, the Bible plainly tells us that it's not about the flesh and blood. So anyone who believes it's about the flesh and blood, that is living in the flesh and blood, might not have the understanding of what the Bible is saying. In the past, while Saul was king over us, you are the one who led Israel on military campaigns. And the Lord said to you, "You will shepherd my people Israel, and you will become their ruler." It's not about the rulers. Again, this paragraph right here touches this paragraph right here, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, Bible Hub, which is plainly telling us, for our struggles is not against the flesh and blood. So if Israel is telling David that he is his own flesh and blood, then you're looking at it as a material thing. Flesh and blood is material. It is not spiritual, but against the rulers. It's not against the flesh and blood, but it's against the rulers. So already this first parable touches both the flesh and blood and the rulers. When all the leaders or elders of Israel had come to King David at Hebron, the king made a covenant with them at Hebron before the Lord, and they anointed David king over Israel. Now remember, I've showed you this many times. Okay, I'm beginning personally myself. God of Israel, which is Yahweh, comes to 666. In Hebrew, gematria, it comes to 322, and 322 is a representation of skull and bones. And once again, here, Strong's Concordance 111. Oh. Contrary to law and justice. Okay? Illicit, criminal. So all of these that you're looking at in Hebrew gematria, English gematria, and simple gematria do not hold high reverence in the God of Israel. And if I'm a wizard or anything in the back of the curtain, I say to you, pay no attention to the hand on the left side of the screen. This is witchcraft. Okay? Don't buy into mediums and sorcerers, witches and witchcraft, warlocks, wizards. Okay? The Bible is plainly telling us to stay away from those things. When all the elders of Israel had come to King David at Hebron, the king made a covenant with them at Hebron before the Lord, and they anointed David king over Israel. David was 30 years old when he became king, and he reigned 40 years. In Hebron, he reigned over Judah 7 years and 6 months, and in Jerusalem, he reigned over all Israel and Judah 33 years. Again, 3 plus 3 is 6. Just saying. David conquers Jerusalem. So then who did he conquer it from? Was it the Philistines? Was somebody else in possession of Jerusalem at that time? Who's in possession of Jerusalem today? Are they true Israelites? Do they belong to are they the true children of God that belong to the Most High, the Supreme Spirit? The king and his men marched to Jerusalem to attack the Jebusites who lived there. The Jebusites said to David, "You will not get in here. Even the blind and the lame can ward you off." They thought, David cannot get in here. Nevertheless, David captured the fortress of Zion, which is the city of David. On that day, David had said, anyone who conquers the Jebusites will have to use the water shaft to reach those lame and blind who are David's enemies. Calling them lame and blind because they just said they called David lame and blind and said that he would not be able to capture the city. So he's mocking them by saying that they won't be able to reach them. Who are David's enemies? That is why they say the blind and the lame will not enter the palace. As I just said, David then took up residence in the fortress and called it the city of David. He built, why not the city of the Lords? I don't know, placing a city with your name on it to me sounds like an ego. Just saying, okay? Not speaking out against Israel, not speaking out against their prophets. I'm not speaking out against the Lord. I'm just simply pointing out that things to me don't make a lot of sense all the time in the Bible. A lot of things make perfect sense, but not everything. He built up the area around it from the terrace inward, and he became more and more powerful because the Lord God Almighty, the Lord Yahweh, God of Israel, the Lord Yahweh, God of Israel, 666, Almighty, was with him. So a question that I'd like to ask you, is there a God of pure love? That he just says, you know what? Okay, I've created. He's given power. Remember, I've showed you this many times. Revelations 13:15 says that something was permitted and given power to breathe into the image of the first beast. When's the very first time the beast is used in the Bible? Genesis 1:25, when God creates the beasts of the field, each according to their kind. Now Hiram, king of Tyre, sent envoys to David, along with his cedar logs and carpenters and stonemasons, and they built a palace for David. Then David knew that the Lord had established him as king over Israel, and had exalted him, his kingdom, for the sake of his people Israel. So what happened? David falls out and a new king comes in. Did they lead the people astray? God's children astray? After he left Hebron, David took more concubines and wives in Jerusalem, and more sons and daughters were born to him. These are the names of the children born to him there: Shammua, Shobab, Nathan, Solomon, Ibhar, Elisha, Nepheg, Jephthah, Elishama, Eliada, and Eliphelet. David defeated the Philistines. When the Philistines heard that David had been anointed king over Israel, they went up in full force to search for him. But David heard about it and went down to the stronghold. Now the Philistines had come and spread out in the valley of Rephaim. So David inquired of the Lord, "Shall I go and attack the Philistines? Will you deliver them into my hands?" The Lord answered him, "Go, for I will surely deliver the Philistines into your hands." So David went to Baal Perazim, and there he defeated them. He said, "As water breaks out, the Lord has broken out against my enemies before me." So that place was called Baal Perazim. Remember, this has a lot of pronunciations: Baal, Baal, Bel. So also, Bel is the one that they sacrificed, the Gentiles sacrificed their babies to. The Philistines abandoned their idols there, and David and his men carried them off. Why carry them off? Why not just smash them down into pieces right then and there? Burn them, melt them down, beat them into dust. Once more the Philistines came up and spread out in the valley of Rephaim. So David inquired of the Lord, and he answered, "Do not go straight up, but circle around behind them and attack them in front of the poplar trees. As soon as you hear the sound of marching in the tops of the poplar trees, move quickly, because that will mean the Lord has gone out in front of you to strike the Philistine army." So David did as the Lord commanded him, and he struck down the Philistines all the way from Gibeon to Gezer. Keeping it short, like I said, this is just going to be a reading. All praise and glory to the Supreme Spirit of Truth, the living one. Worship the Spirit, what you can't see. Don't worship any man. Mankind was not meant to be worshipped. If it's in a flesh suit, then it's a spirit that's trapped inside the flesh suit, which means that all, not just me, not just you, but all are susceptible to darkness, being led by darkness. I've proven with enough information that the watchers are capable of manipulating our thoughts through technology. Don't be led in any other way and not believe that it's true, because it can be. It's happening right now. It happens all the time. These people that are in control, these leaders, these world leaders, politicians, governors, presidents, assemblymen, senators, all of them, they work for darkness. They are the watchers. Don't ever forget that. This is White Raptor News Ministries.